do because there's no department head. So those are all pretty standard, they don't have personnel in them, and I can point out new items, you know, or items that are additionals later on. So we tried to start really early, but everybody was still in the summer swing of things. All right, the system has come on, so why don't we start the Finance Committee meeting of the Town Council. And for councilors we have
Bob Stackhouse, Councilor, District 3.
Howard Margolski, Councilor at Large.
And we have Catherine Rood, Town Manager, and shortly we'll have Heather Donahue, our Vice Chairperson, Deputy Mayor Leanne. And Deb Billings is unable to attend today. All right, so we have a short agenda. First we got signed warrants, and the water sewer commitments will be ready for the next meeting. But we do have some warrants that the councilors are going over, which is good. And then an update will be given quickly on number B, the 2019 Capital Improvement Plan. And we have put a number of projects out to bid, and we've had a few projects that have already been completed or are partially being done. The first project I'll mention is the tiling project upstairs that went exceptionally well. We're still not totally unpacked, but we have one office on the side, the code enforcement office, that needs to be tiled. That's going to be tiled next Thursday, the 19th. And that just had a lot of items piled in front of it, so the moving crew did not take everything out because things got piled in front of it, so it got left on its own. But on a day that the code officer is not working, everything will be moved out, and the company will, the tiling company will come and fix that. That's part of the price, so that's fine, and we still have to check for that. And then the downstairs area, we just got the bid redone again, and so that needs to be gone over to see how to fit that in the budget. But it would be a very nice tiling, the same as upstairs, with the guarantee and everything. And then up here has to be a carpet because you can't put tile here. And then we still have the issue with the edges and how people fall off. And so far, no workers' comp claim because we have been very careful and put the hazard tape on as instructed by the insurance company. But we're going to build a railing around here just at the edges, at both edges, that will fit in with the colors once the tile is down, fit in with the colors, and that would be a project for Public Works, but we should be able to do a quick railing. We don't need one up here. The problem is on the edges. Both the town clerk and I have managed to fall off, as well as several citizens. It's specifically an issue with the election because of the setup of the room, and they've tried different setups, but they need to use the setup now, and you wouldn't rebuild this whole thing. So a little railing, I think, on the sides, suggested by Heather, should work well. So that'll take care of that. So that project will be completed in the near future. We thought we had another date to do it, but the company has to have the people available with the amount of work that they have to get everything done, and they are the lowest cost, so we would go with them. And very high quality. They do the project. They brought in a bunch of family members of the individual that was working for the company, and they did an excellent job because I was here and saw it. So that was the first one that we're working on.
How much has the bid changed, Catherine? Is there
well, when
wasn't it one bid for the whole?
It was one bid. However, Michael had bid this out as carpet and not tile, and we just don't need to have carpet down here and have problems. You know, in 5 or 6 years there'll be problems, and so the pricing. When it was submitted for the budget was unfortunately involved some carpet, and carpet is less expensive than tile, especially high quality tile that we're getting. So that was an error we didn't pick up on, and then we did, and so we've had that redone, so it's done as the tiling for everything. And then when they came down and measured the rooms, they did the back rooms, and there's no need to do the back rooms. The carpet's in excellent condition there. There's hardly any traffic. One is a storage room. I can show you the room after the meeting, but in no way you'll see why we do not want to move everything out. It is really packed in there. Okay. And it looks like we got Heather here. Let's see if we can get her going. Heather, can you hear me? Heather, can you hear me? Heather? Hello? Hello, okay, I can hear you. Howard is here and Bob is here. So hopefully you'll be able to hear us talk.
Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you really good. I'll put you up here. I have it up as high as I can go. All right, very good. So we had signed the warrants, and now we're talking about an update on the capital improvement plan. So we just got some bids in for the different projects. And so I'm going to quickly go over these so you can see where we're at. And so we got at least one, if not one bid was very popular. So either our projects, when Steve Vance estimated them, were estimated very low, or this is late in the season, so people have higher prices because their time is more important. And so we do have the bid specs and we do have the prices, and I think most of these will have to be rebid here. But at least we do have some good prices for one of the projects. So pulling out the budget now. All right, capital improvement. So the first project was masonry brick cleaning, repointing and sealing. Only one bidder from Etner. Their price was $59,800. And in the budget, oh, we're gone. Heather? All right, try that in a moment. In the budget, we had $26,840, and Steve is a good estimator. The price is double, more than double, $59,800. So the next one, the same bidder. So
That was for repointing?
That was for repointing of the building. So the next, and I can do up a sheet for you, I'm just quickly giving you an idea. We've got,
How do I find somebody from the police station?
hello, hi, excuse me. All right, so you want to go back upstairs.
Okay.
All right, when you go upstairs, go to your left. Okay, all right, and you see the police station there. If nobody's there, there's a phone outside.
So go up these
You're
stairs?
gonna go up these stairs and then go
Okay.
right over to the left. Okay, thank you. All right, so the next one was the fire station masonry replacement. Came in at $29,757. And that one was budgeted at $15,838. So again, this is a double type of thing. The next one is the walkway replacement, which this is an outrageous figure for this. $56,700. Public Works. $56,700.
Is that with heat and hot water?
It does have the heating under, and the bid specs was the heated sidewalk. So we have some money for this, but nothing close to that. Public Works, if they had time, can do a really good job for about $20,000, including their time.
And that's something that really has to be done because of the insurance question, right?
It has to be done because for years we put up with the way it's set up, but once they started putting the truck in there, which I caught them plowing with the truck, and the truck actually went onto the walkway, it was damaged, you know, when they were cleaning things off. But it was a project that was going to be needed anyway for improvement, because it's very treacherous when it's icy with bricks, and you would come out and just slide
Sure is.
down into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was able to, I would get here early and sand it all and salt it. But I haven't been able to the last few years. And so this is something we needed to do to have a better sidewalk for the safety of the citizens, and especially the employees who are arriving early. So that, you know, once you get in the building, you're okay. You can take your sand, salt, and come out and take care of it. But this is a project that does need to be done. So we had put a little bit under $20,000 for that project. So that price, that's an outrageous price.
So the same person, the same person again? But
Yes, it's the same person who bid on all of these, and their pricing is high. But I think it's the you know, it's later in the year, so this is what's happened here. So the next one is the municipal building fire station roof replacement, and we have lucked out. the bids are, they're a variation of prices from low to high. But the low bidder is C.O. Beck and Sons, an excellent company who's done work here in town and actually donated a roof for the swimming pool building. Their price in total for the municipal building and fire station is $84,605, and our budget is approximately $115,000, so we've done well in that area. And they've stated they want to do that early in 2020. So the good thing about that is we can get a contract put together, you know, and get them scheduled in to do that, and then bid out these other ones during winter with the bid specs that we have, which are very good. Nobody's pointed out problems with the bid specs, and then get these projects going here. And then any projects we're going to do that we put in the budget for 2020, as we find them, we've been bidding them out. And so we'll bid out others and then have that, so we have better pricing and maybe contracts that could go forward if we had the money put in the budget. So I think we've got a good system, but we need to speed it up so it's more timely, which is what will happen in this next year, and then the year after that will be even more timely. So I'm going to try to call Heather back.
I think she said she's going to only watch because it was very muffled, she said.
Yeah. Let's see if she can hear anything. Hi Heather, it's Catherine. Do you want to try this again or just try to watch us on the TV?
Absolutely, it's great. Yeah, everything's really not possible. Everything is perfect.
All right, I'll leave the phone on in case you want to try to listen to us, but if that doesn't work, you'll have the video. And this should be, and like I mentioned in the email, we don't have a lot of budgets or anything, so we'll need to figure out how we want to do all the budgets at once, or just bring in certain departments and line them up with a schedule at the next finance committee meeting or another day. Yeah, I apologize. I can't understand I can't understand you. My apologies.
Okay, so I'll just watch online.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hard to hear.
Catherine, on the roof,
Yes.
since it's money this year,
Mhm.
can we carry that over to next
Oh
year?
yes. We'll be all set, and we'll encumber it too, because that is an excellent price and an excellent company.
Okay,
Yeah. That is very good.
so we'll basically tie it in just for that.
Yes, we can
project.
tie in all of those. The capital improvement funds have always gone over to the next year.
Yeah.
Either you put them into a carry forward account or put them into the reserves, depending on what you're gonna do. So then, you know, projects do get done the next year, or even sometimes a little bit later if you're saving money of several years to be put together. All right, so that's an update on where we're at on these projects, and there aren't any other projects to report on except for the paving project. And so the company, paving company is very cooperative in watching the schedule and set up to start the third week of September for paving. So I've asked Steve Vance when he wants me to issue the proper paperwork for them to proceed, because there's a form that you issue that they start. And so he is on schedule. If you've been down on the Peltoma Avenue, it's very wide now. The trees are away from the road. I know we're getting a lot of complaints on the trees being cut, but the trees were not supposed to be on the road. The trees were
Is the
supposed to be
paving
away
gonna be a
from
little bit
the road.
wider too, or is that
Yeah,
gonna be where it is now?
Well, once you cleaned out the brush, then the whole area, the shoulders are actually cleaned off now. So he has cut them back so that the drainage will go down like it's supposed to, instead of get straight and stuck because it's been pushed up on the sides for years. So it's properly contoured. The ditch area is probably the same as it was before, it just had filled in, because that was a wide road at one time.
So that's all done all the way down to the bridge then?
They had started at the bridge and moved back, and they just had a couple of areas the last time I was down, but I believe it's all completed. They just have one section to finish.
I haven't been past the dump, but I know from the end of the cemetery to the dump, it looks pretty well.
Yeah, and
all
then
done.
past
Too
that,
bad.
they're done what they're gonna do past that too, all the way down to the bridge,
Okay.
yeah.
So have they started that? Or they- or no?
So that hasn't been paid because we have to do the notice to proceed.
Yeah.
And so I've asked, Steve if he wants me to issue that now to get them going here. They should issue it a few days before you want them to start paving. And so he was gonna get back to me and then talk to the company again, because we do need to issue that pronto. And so Peltoma Avenue, I believe, is done as much as it's going to. It looks much better. There was an area they fixed by the back entrance to Chimbrow, and that still is kind of pushed up in places, but they can go back and smooth that out. So they're down on Snake Root Road, and they'll have a detour set up for several days coming up in September next week to take care of a very large culvert problem. And so that will be taking place. They're also cutting back and doing all the work on Snake Road. So the plan is, once one of the roads was done, to bring in the paving company, and then they would keep working, working ahead of the paving company, which is a pretty traditional way to take care of, projects that need a lot of
So
work.
Peltoma will be first,
Peltoma would be first.
then
and
Snake Root, and then
Snake
Detroit
Road,
Avenue.
and then Detroit would be the last one. Detroit has some storm drain items that need to be fixed, so that's got to be planned out so we can get that done in time. Alright, so that's an update on that project, but I will say Peltoma Avenue looks really good. And so in a couple of days I'll go down and look at Snake Root, but I'm sure that that looks good too. There's been a number of people that have called in regarding the whole work project, and when the machinery goes through to clear out the ditches, people do like things where you see all the greenery, but the greenery has to be taken away from the road so it's not in the road or too close to the road. It's just what has to happen in order to have proper ditching and for proper safety and everything. All right, so those are updates on those projects.
Catherine, a question. For the repointing, the masonry and the walkway issues, we had tentatively committed funds, probably half or less overall, to those projects. And that's money that, from the loan, that won't be expended. How is that going to be handled?
So I think most of those projects were in the regular budget. So let's look at that right now.
I thought they were all capital improvements, no?
They are, but there's some tax money here. So the repointing of the municipal building is the tax dollars. The masonry for the fire station is the tax dollars. So those two, so those two are tax dollars, which are here, so that's fine. And all you would do is carry them forward, so that's appropriate. But we do need Steve Vance to look at these projects and just make absolutely sure we have the correct pricing, or do we need to add a little bit more for the 2020 budget. So then those ones are the tax dollars. The back walkway was economic development funds, which we said was the back entrance to make things look better, and that's funding that was approved by the council in the past. So that would carry forward too, so that's fine. So the monies that are in the loan, we would just carry it forward on the books, which is appropriate and can be done. We had to do that with the bridge project for part of it. So that can be done just with a journal entry.
Are we going to encumber those to those projects? Because otherwise it'll go to the general fund, correct?
It's part of the loan, so it's going to have to stay out of the general fund. So
Okay.
what will happen is by a journal entry, it will just stay in the loan. The loan will be listed on, loans are listed on the general ledger, separate from the budget, separate from unappropriated surplus. So they stay in the loan monies, and so they stay there because they have to be used for a project that's in the loan. Now, you might, I don't think you'll do this, but some towns will say, oh, well, we won't do this project. We'll just put more toward another project. You could do that, as long as you stay within the 206,000 for these different projects and keep that together, and the 500,000 goes for the paving, you should be fine, because you'll have pluses and minuses here. And I think Steve will end up with the 500,000. We saved out 5,000 for all the legal documents and everything, and then he's got his other 40,000 or so for all the work that he's doing, and his bills are starting to come in, and then the rest is all the paving that came in around 450,000.
Okay.
So that one should zero out. But even, let's say we have 3,000 left, we can keep it for paving, or at that point, we can check in and see if we want to use it for something else.
Okay, because I'm looking at, the roof for the firehouse, came in at 84, and we estimated that at 115 or so. So there's like 30,000
Yes.
extra there
Mhm.
that we could actually,
To the
if
others.
the masonry, is actually 29,000, we still got the money to be able to do that, and actually put some towards the repointing. You're not that far off.
Mhm.
The walkway is outrageous, obviously. So,
Yeah.
but as long as we can carry it forward
We
and,
can.
and dedicate it to
Yes.
the projects per se, because it'll be part of the loan.
Yeah, and often when you have a variety of projects, these items do get carried forward, sometimes for several years, and it's understandable. As long as they're used for these projects, they can be used in different combinations, because we had a whole bunch of projects together, and no project is gonna be the exact amount that we listed.
Okay.
So that should be fine. So I think the best thing to do is when Steve has a moment, we will have him reprice the projects just to make sure we have correct figures, or see if we want to change it a little bit, and then proceed forward here. We can rebid them out. February is a good time to do that, because then people are putting their work schedules together for next year. All right, so on to the 2020 budget process. So the budgets have come in very, very slowly. And as you saw from the package that you got, I held it because I was hoping to get more. Because, sending 3 and then sending 2 and then sending 2 and then sending 1 is just not efficient or effective. However, we did get 3 budgets that were submitted by the due date, so you have the exact budgets that were submitted. And those were from the transfer station, recycling, so those are Donnie Schutz. And then the library, which is from Holly Williams. So those budgets were all very well put together in order. And as you can see, the budgets come in a different format. Sometimes they use their own format, as long as they have it in the order of our financial software. And so I have those 3 budgets, and then we had a couple of more budgets that came in. The fire department budget, and I met with the fire chief today, and we've gone over that budget and put in the figures, because he had a couple of different figures in there for things. So I've got that one resolved, and that looks good. He's put in a little increase in the fee schedule, which he does every few years, so we've got one there that's in his package, which is good. That looked good. And so I've got the pricing from the fire chief, so that he had questioned or had items in which the budgets had a little bit different figures. So I fixed those figures, and he's all set with that. So we got the correct added amount there. And then the building inspector I will meet with next Wednesday. And then he's asked for a staff person, part-time, and for new filing cabinets, which is an additional request. I never get any phone calls. All right, so in the additional request that was in with the budget, the filing cabinets are listed as $650 each for 3. And so I will talk with him, because we've never paid $650 for file cabinets. So,
I just threw one away.
Pardon?
I just threw one away.
No, not like these. I think they're probably lateral, large ones, but I'm
Oh.
wondering where, we'll see what his plan is, because right now he can't fit 3 filing cabinets into his office. Doesn't have enough room. So we'll look that over and then figure out what he needs for additional help. And he's asked for help with, at the planning board meetings, to have somebody here with him, because it's hard for him now to take the minutes and talk and everything, which I understand. All of us have that issue at all the meetings we go to. And so I'll talk with him about that. So those are the ones that I had by Tuesday night. And then since then, I've received like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 more. So I've got all the police ones. I got the cemetery, and then some capital reserve ones have come in. So I've reminded everyone else that they need to get their budgets in. And then if I need another reminder at that point, I will tell them that their budgets are going in at the amounts that they are now. And so I will get everything quickly. So I didn't start the capital budget like I had planned to do that last weekend. I've only got 3 capitals, and that's not enough to take everything out. You know, I should have like maybe 30 capitals in total to make that so it's efficient. The department head town manager meetings will be next Wednesday, so everybody knows that they're supposed to contact me to schedule those meetings. Now, Don Shute is all set because we already met on his budget, and that meeting was very quick because his budgets are always in excellent order. And then Holly Williams' budget is in excellent order. Lynn's always was too. And the fire chief, we took care of that little item on which price to use for a couple of things, so he's all set. So then everybody else will get their meeting set up next Wednesday. If they can't meet on Wednesday, we'll meet on Thursday. Can't meet on Thursday, we'll figure out what we're gonna do, if we'll use the Friday date or not. And then at that point, I'll give you all of their budgets all together in one nice package with everything in order. And try to input as much as we can, because it's hard to look at these now and then compare them to the budget book. If you had an inputted document, that would be helpful with the totals and everything. So we'll see how good I can do with that. But it means getting everybody in here and having their budgets in order. And then of course we've got the theater budget. Jamie is doing her first budget, and then the theater has been interesting.
Can we get a report at the council meeting next week regarding if the theater committee has moved forward with a plan as suggested by the council when we met in our workshop, to form some group to look at creating a 501c3 or some plan that's more beyond next year. Because I think if you look at just next year, we're going to have a hard time, appropriating money for it.
I think we're gonna have a very hard time. To
Yeah.
my knowledge, and I've gone to as many meetings as I can, no plan has been put forward.
Well, that tells me something, we either don't have the right people, or they're not forward-thinking enough to basically say, we gave them, we may not have been entirely specific, but I thought we indicated pretty much, for the folks that were at the workshop, that business as usual as it's been is not going to be able to continue. So, we need to look at some other plan for the theater.
I thought you were very clear, I guess.
And I think if we're in the budget season, and if they don't have a plan, I think we're in trouble.
I totally agree.
So I think that a report, at next Tuesday, or if they can't do it Tuesday, by the first meeting in October at the latest, I would like a complete plan for what's going to happen to the theater, or what their vision is for the theater, and how they're going to get there. Because if they want support from the town and the council, then they're going to have to come up with with something that shows thought and, you know, a real plan for moving forward.
I understand fully. So I had high hopes when they had come up with a project in which they were going to contact all the businesses, divide up the business list, and I suggested business lists from other towns, and get sponsorships for the movies, because you could bring in maybe $30,000 during the year, which is a major accomplishment. That did not move forward during the summer. The theater manager is running around trying to do that now, and had been, but she only had a certain number of hours. And so the theater committee has been encouraged to divide up the list and do that, and they talked about a Google document. And I don't believe that has happened as of yet, but the theater manager is contacting companies and has multiple sponsorships now, maybe through October. And this was a lot of work.
Yeah, well, you know, you indicated from the last meeting that, you know, the funds as they currently exist would maybe carry them through October.
Mm-hmm.
And that they could have some funds, you know, that they've garnered during the year with different shows and such that they could use to
They
keep
can
going.
use that. Mhm.
But I'm not sure how far that's going to carry it.
I
Especially
think,
since heating season's coming up. We
What's
haven't,
that?
had to worry, we haven't had to worry about heating season all summer.
Yeah.
And heating season's coming up, so they're gonna spend some of that money on heat and.
so I think that they, by the percentages, and you'll see your report, I've got their budget set up in the categories they want, which totals to the budget in the computer, but we can't change the budget and
Sure.
keep changing it in the computer. I'm not supposed to do that, there's no way to do it. But I've set that up so that they can understand that and it makes sense, because it's a good setup. And the budget is better in the way it's tailored and everything. So they will make it into November, because they've been very cost conservative, and they haven't had the assistant manager on. So they'll make it into November, and then they are garnering some funds, so they probably can, you know, make it through November, you know, if the bills don't go up too much. But that's just this year. You know, we've got all the other years here.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. It's been interesting. All right, so we've got that budget. We've got all the police budgets now, so I'll go through those because I just got those. I just got the cemetery budget.
That doesn't fluctuate too much, though.
So there aren't actually a lot of departments to come in unless you want all the departments to come in. So do you want to see them all? Do you want to see ones with increases? What would you like to do?
Definitely the ones with increases for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
You know, we can kind of refer back to budget book from last year
Right.
to, if we have an idea on where it's at. But, you know, certainly agree with Bob, any that have an increase,
Okay.
we want to take a look
right,
at.
exactly.
You know, I don't see much here from the ones that,
They're just
that-
regular budgets.
that Donnie submitted, you know,
Mhm.
he is fairly thorough.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually doesn't look like it's, all things considered, that it's changed that much.
No, it hasn't.
Holly, I think, you know, as her first budget, I think that, you know, a potential $4,000 increase from year to year, if every department had that, I think we'd be in good shape.
For the bigger ones, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah,
So-
she had some minuses too, and then some.
Yeah, and you know, some of the stuff is probably built in from the point of view of contractual, as well as you know, things like heating and everything else. You can't, electricity, you can't really project what it's going to do.
This is true. So those budgets do not have the personnel services in it. So that part all has to be calculated. So we're waiting for the increase for the health insurance, which always comes in like on November 1st when I issued the budgets on October 31st. Then you had to change it,
Yeah.
usually. This time, it'll be a few more days because the budgets come in on 10/11. So then we'll change the health insurance as we need it. So personnel services and the percentage of increase for the staff is not in there as of yet. So that'll be something that will enter across the board for everyone. And then we'll have some specific capital projects and projects that have come up that people have indicated would be good to do. So those will go in as capitals or additionals based upon whether they suffice as a capital project or if they're just something that's operational but is needed. So you'll have all those. So I'll put all the additionals together in a package. We'll put all of the operationals together and put all the capitals together. It may be I won't have everything for your next meeting, but I will do the best that I can, and then I clean up everything else to fill it in to make it 100%.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. So I'll schedule everybody that has increases in their budget, major increases. And I'm thinking probably 20 minutes each. So they can do a presentation, you can ask questions. If everybody's here, then we can just go 1, 2, 3. Some might be quick, like in 10 minutes, some might need maybe 30 minutes or so. That usually works pretty good.
So would that be at our next finance committee meeting?
Yes, at your next meeting. So I'm wondering if you'd like to start earlier than 4 o'clock, if you're able to, both of you. And then we'll
I
check
should be able to, I don't know why I can't.
check with Heather here.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
What's the day, what's that date?
26.
26, yeah, September 26.
I think, if, I guess Heather would be the question, if she's,
If she can't, then maybe I'll cut the departments down to 15 minutes.
okay. We can meet, I'm willing to start 3:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever.
Yeah, same here.
All right, very good. So we'll do that. And then this weekend is just budget. Friday afternoon on is budgets. And I will note that the Pinnacle Ski Club is asked to meet with me to go over their operations and everything. And so there's changes that may be coming forward. I don't know what they are.
Okay.
But
Now,
that's,
is that a department?
Like I say, we don't usually fund them though, do we?
no.
Well, that was one of my questions. How are they gonna fund the skating rink?
Yeah, the skating rink will be donations that the ad hoc committee, the skating rink revitalization committee comes up with, and they just contacted me on how to get donations and how to make up the checks and everything. So we'll help them with that. So they'll go out and raise some money. I think they'll do a good job, and they got some in-kind donations that are coming from businesses and everything. So this is the way we've done a lot of little projects at the parks and everything. So that should work out good. So that's the skating rink. I know there's questions developing about the Pinnacle and how it's set up and everything, just so that you know. But any major changes in operations would take certainly more than a few weeks, to work on.
Heather can start at 3:30.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to follow there. All right.
She's listening.
All right.
Thanks, Heather.
I know, we have technology, but it's not totally 100% yet. All right, good. So let's start at 3:30. I'll probably, depending on how many departments that we have, will be whether it's 15 or 20 minutes. And then you'll do the time that you needed, whether it's 5 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
Excuse me, is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
I have a couple of questions.
Excuse me.
I know you had discussed previously putting in a new phone system, on lease. Has that happened?
Yeah, so on your council meeting agenda, we're on our 7th attempt here for an agenda item for the phone system. So I have the details from the company, and so I helped Michael set up a meeting in which the company came in to tell us all about the system. So it sounds really good. It fits within our budget in that We can finance things with an order, so we're trying to work out the language now to do this, so we can get going with the new system. We can get messages, but all the messages at times will go all to one phone, but we are getting them all. And then during the day, we can send them around to the different departments.
Okay.
So the problem is less because we figured out how to go in, but we would like to change over as soon as possible because I'm sure we're still losing a phone call here and there.
Okay, so that hasn't been installed yet?
No, it hasn't been because you'll have to approve it. It would be
Okay.
a lease purchase, and it would need an order for the financing, would have to be approved by the financing committee. They would order the equipment and then ask for our phone numbers to be ported, what's called ported over from the current provider to the town, so that would be with the phone company, so that would take a while. Meanwhile, they would be getting the equipment all ready and training us on it and then switch us over. So it could take 3 weeks, they said.
If somebody, it doesn't have, and we can ask it on Tuesday,
Mhm.
there'll be a representative here?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they already came and met with the staff.
Okay.
There's
Will-
only, I should say, we get 4 bids, but only one really fits the town,
Okay,
which luckily is the price we can afford.
okay. If somebody calls in and wants to speak with a certain department,
Mhm.
do they have the ability to connect directly? I mean, with, rather than, because to put a phone system in, I think it's partially for the benefit of the public as well as, having the folks upstairs that handle all the calls, handle less. So if they can direct a message, instead of coming into one phone, if we can say, if you need water department, hit 1. If you need public works, hit 2. Transfer station, hit 3.
Yes, so that's how it can be set up. Now, we've got the pros and the cons. The pros are what you've said. The cons is the people who want to talk to a person. So we'd have to get that programmed in, and hopefully that would be done so people wouldn't be mad by the time they got to the end of the message. So we're gonna go listen to other messages of other phone systems to see ones we like. And then it appears that this can be programmed any way we want. So you might start out with the items, I would say 30% of our phone calls are about motor vehicle. So if it's for the motor vehicle licensing hours, why not have that as number 1 or maybe number 2? Then you'd press 2 for the motor vehicle,
Yeah.
So then everybody gets that. Transfer station hours would be 1. And then you'd have your other departments that are heavy, like code enforcement, and then whatever else that we needed. And then you'd have maybe staff members listed that are called a lot. And then you'd have, at some point, to talk to a person, but we don't want it too far down. So we have to figure out how to set this up so it will work, because some people do not want to press these buttons, they want to talk to a person.
Well, I
So we need
understand,
to accommodate them.
but, to make the work more efficient upstairs.
Yeah, and then we need to make the work more efficient, and then we need to make it better for the people calling in so they don't get passed around.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's 3 objectives here. So I think we can set that up and the phone system can do that.
okay, all right.
Yeah, so it sounds good. The current system that we have can do a lot of the things they told us about yesterday, that the new phone system could. But the
Yeah.
problem is the book is so complicated to do and so difficult to program that we just always had a basic system here. And after the amount of money that was paid for that system, which was astronomical, we didn't want to, go out and buy another system as long as it worked. And then when you called in and said the phone was on last year, we couldn't understand what was going on because it only happened once in a while. And then by the time we figured out, it was too late because it had malfunctioned a lot. But we have figured out how to go on at least once or twice a day and go in to make sure it has not programmed itself back on its own to take in messages.
Okay.
Yep.
Catherine, the item on the agenda for that, is that gonna be for approval or just for review or?
No approval.
Okay.
Yeah, so there'll be 2 motions, one to accept the bid, and we're still trying to work out, because the prices differ The staff had never checked the math, on the project. So, when I was going through calculating the math, it's off, so we have to break it down for the, leasing order. So, we're working on that now, and the telephone company came today, and I'm sure there's a logical explanation here, but we need to know what it is.
Okay.
Because they know what they're doing. So there's other things in the pricing they gave us, so we need to break those out, and if we need multiple contracts, we need to do that and not just have one motion to do one thing.
Right.
So that's what we're breaking out. I've gotten all that from Michael. I'm gonna look at that shortly, and then make sure the agenda items are set up right.
Okay.
Right, so we have that. You'll have your August reconciliations. I just finished those for everything. So that is done. The theater budget and the breakdown takes a long time, but that's all in there. It's on individual pages, and I apologize, but that's how, the only way you can run them out. If I try to make it more concise, then you end up with these other accounts in there that have nothing to do with the theater. So we got a lot of separate pages on that. So that's all done. And then the other item that the council wanted for this meeting was the discussion on the transfer station fee schedule possibilities. So we have a presentation from Don Shoup on that. And then at the meeting on October 1st, all of our associates will be in. We met with them. There's been a long list of enhancements and accomplishments. And I did not put out the RFP because we're still working on the setup on exactly what we've got here to be as efficient and effective. And so we'll talk about that. And when we do the budget, Annalise is going to put together not a budget that they would propose, but just a budget that has nothing to do with them. On if you had an operator, this is how your accounts would be set up. And then I'm doing the budget that if you had staff, this is how it would be set up. So we'll have a variety of budgets here, because this is still going to be in progress as to what to do.
So you haven't gotten any, resumes or anything for somebody to take over?
We got one resume.
One resume?
Just one, yeah.
Okay. The only other question I had, I see that there are video cameras in the office now, security cameras?
Yeah, they're not set up yet, they're being worked on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for surveillance to assist. I have to go out front so much now that, the staff has more conflict situations than we used to have.
Okay. Conflict with the public?
Yes.
So the cameras will be, okay,
Facing the public.
facing the public?
Mhm.
Okay. And the monitoring will be in your office?
I believe it would be in Michael's office.
Michael's office?
Mhm.
Okay.
So we'll start out with a few cameras and see if we got the right angles and how that works and everything.
Okay.
And just by putting a sign on the door, that might help. But people are stressed, they don't have money. We collect all the money, it's very difficult. You have people wander through the building that need housing, and there's been some difficult situations, and some people have gotten excited over things that shouldn't have, that
Okay.
stress the staff out, and eventually the people come back and apologize. But I think if we have video cameraing, and say we have it, and I always didn't want to do this, but I think we need to have it for the safety of the employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it may defer some of these interactions that aren't helpful.
So the cameras, I guess you'll work on it, they'll be pointing at the doors and.
Yeah, we'll figure it out,
Question.
yeah.
Some video cameras are just video. Some
Mhm.
systems I know that I've seen in the past, we need to be, in offices, we needed to be careful as far as confidential information and
yes,
HIPAA and
yes,
everything
yes.
else.
Mhm.
Is there voice recording or is it just video recording?
This will have voice.
Voice.
Mhm.
That.
Which for the main offices are all fine. So originally we were gonna try to put one for the town clerk and myself, but we haven't figured that out yet. We have enough units, so if a unit breaks, we have an extra, but we have enough units if we wanted to do something down here, or because it's how it came, or if we wanted to put another one someplace. But yes, the confidential information is something that we have to watch out for, but there's no confidential discussions in the main office.
Well, there could be if, you know, somebody goes to complain, you know, about, you know, filing, something as far as at the police station or something, you know,
Unless, you know, we would talk to them about, you know, going over and cut the conversation off. Yeah, but just because they're saying they're gonna file a complaint, it's not confidential. It would be all the details.
well, if they want to file a complaint against, you know, a woman comes in who's battered and wants to file a complaint against her husband to get a restraining order or something, I mean, that is relatively confidential information. And voice recording, you know, I know Maine's a state where, you know, it's a one-party state as far as, you know, recording things, but, you know, I would have questions about that.
All right, we were told how we were setting up would be fine, but we'll do some more checking. The voice is optional, so we don't have to have it on.
Yeah.
And so, we'll work our way through the system, but
Okay.
it may be, I don't know the distance it will pick up.
Yeah.
So normally, I can't remember anybody ever coming into the counter to do that. Once in a while, somebody will come in about general assistance and start talking about everything, which they really shouldn't, and then we cut the conversation down, take them in another room. So we'll always have, you know, situations like that, but the people are volunteering the information, so it's not a liability for the town. So we'll work our way through that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll see, it should not pick up all the way over to the police station, but if it does, we'll figure out how to deal with that. And that was something we had a question on anyway.
Okay.
So this will be, before it goes into real operation, we'll test that.
Great.
So a good point.
Okay.
All right, anything, Bob, any budget questions or anything?
I think of no.
Okay, all right, so our next finance committee meeting will be Thursday, September 26th, starting at 3:30. And then we'll have scheduled budget presentation discussions. Are we adjourned?
Motion we adjourn.
I second that and third it.
We are adjourned.
And you know, without looking at the clock, you are perfectly getting done on time. So we're getting this down to a science here.
Good.
So I'll go turn the system off, and then you have the warrants for any
Yeah.
that sign.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you.
Bye, Heather. Do a good job at the Big E.
I see a thing, I don't know where it was, in the paper or
What's that?
Rolling Thunder.